back for another round. This hand, while very tempting, basically hinges on scoring a mountain or another land or two lands, so I don't think we can keep it even on the draw. It's the kind of thing I would keep if it was a 6, but I don't think I can keep it as a 7. This is very similar. With a draw and a scry, I feel a little bit safe with this one. At least, like, this deck doesn't mulligan well. Spire Bluff on top kind of fixes all our problems with that. Let's see what we get this time. Shambling Vent. So this could be black-white control, which has been gathering a bit of momentum. Not sure how that matchup is. Well, it's black-white planeswalkers. So, or it's just Mardu. Of course it's Mardu. I think it's because I don't know why. It's just something about the turn 1 Shambling Vent that just kind of throws me off about it. Okay, so this could be a tricky one. As it stands, I've played many games against Mardu and have yet to win a single one. Ooh, Cultivator's Caravan. That's a bit of a nasty one. The question is, do we want to take some damage here? And I think, basically I'm going to do this now, because we get 2 energy, and really what's key in this matchup is not letting Gideon resolve, and if we deal with this, we can keep our mana free for this turn. And we'll play out the Aether Hub here, because we can play out the Aether Hub next turn as well, and then if we find something like an Attune, we can play the Dying Vault with an activation ready. But yeah, what's going to be quite key here is countering a Gideon when it comes up. Because I think we played Mardu once on the other video, but basically my motto for this matchup is never let Gideon resolve, if you can help it. Like, so much so, in theory, I should play a Dynavolt Tower here. But honestly, my inclination is that it is actually potentially better to hold up Anticipate to find a negate. Which does seem kind of backwards, but like, I just fear Gideon that much. Challenger I also fear. Perfect. See, the thing with Mardu is, like, controlling the creatures can be somewhat, like, oddly enough, the easy bit. The Planeswalkers are a nightmare to deal with. Now with no reason to hold stuff up, because they're obviously not going to respect counterspells. In theory, they really shouldn't. But they're stuck on 3 lands. It doesn't feel like they're going to play around a counterspell, so we may as well just get the Dynavolt Tower out, because it's one of the better ways to deal with them. Yep, there's another Gideon. I mean, that's just how it kind of goes against Mardu sometimes. It's very hard to deal with if your opponent just runs off 3 Planeswalkers in a row and you don't have the counters for them. Because you don't have much pressure for them. So, I think we just pass here. I think what we try and do is see what happens with the Gideon, because the main fear is oh, Fatal Push. Don't really want to draw a card here. Opponent's Hellbent, so the idea is that we try and get Gideon down by pinging him twice with the Dying Vault Tower. So a key aspect of that is I'm going to harness this. It's going to take us up to 6 energy. It's going to take us up to 8 energy. So any spell, we are going to bolt Gideon at the end of turn. So any spell that we find, or any untapped land we find, because we'll be able to Gear Hulk, will allow us to deal with that Gideon. It's possible we should have waited to see what gets played next. Heart of Kiran. Wouldn't be able to deal with that anyway, so let's take down Gideon now. Oh, I didn't redirect. Wait, did it even... Oh, fuck, it's a creature. Very awkward. I did not think about that. I assumed it would, the damage would still... For some reason, it's my fault for not knowing the rules. I assumed that the damage would not be prevented because it deals it to the player and is redirected. Well, you learn something every day. God, that's frustrating. I mean, we're probably completely fucked now. Fraben Inspector. Ugh, God. So what happens if we shock Gideon, go to 4 energy? Still don't think that works very well. So I just want to use our mana up, so let's just bolt this Fraben Inspector. Yeah, I don't know, I guess maybe that's obvious. But I just assumed that the damage wouldn't be prevented. Glimmer of Genius is not great. I'm surprised our opponent didn't crew the Heart of Kirin last turn with the Gideon. Maybe they want to preserve the loyalty. Oh god, that was horrible. Absolutely horrible. Especially because they were so low on cards as well. Like, we had a particularly, like, it could have been the fact we could have just potentially got away with things by having a Gearhulk that could block Gideon for a while. Let's Glimmer. There's a chance we Glimmer into a shock, and we can deal with the Heart of Kirin. Attune, Negate. Do not want either of those right now. Harness Lightning is not awful to have. Second Harness Lightning is less awful to have, but we've just got no way of dealing with Gideon now. That's really frustrating. So, Disallow is too slow. Having 4 Gearhulks is too slow, and Anticipate is a bit dirtly. So, Natural State comes in for all the vehicles, Release Scrims comes in for all the artifacts, Radiant Flames to survive any early rushes, Negate comes in to deal with the Planeswalkers, and then we'll throw in 3 Whirl of Virtuosos, because it is one way to pressure Gideon. It's always a question whether they keep in their removal or not, because it's very... I assume they take... I mean, it's tricky, because, like, they could keep the removal in, they could not. I think they almost have to, because they have to keep in License Disintegration just because it's so effective. But yeah, I mean, that's because, like, Gideon can't get through a Torrential Gearhulk, and Gideon is the quickest way to victory. I'm not sure about this. So basically, because I'm using Andre Strategies list, I'm using a sideboarding guide, and apparently the sideboarding plan is that you take out an island here to make way for stuff. This hand seems fine. We've got some early mana fixing, so we'll attune here for red. Because the shock is going to be quite important. But yeah, this is the thing with Mardu. It's like, especially if this is the Mardu that sideboards into a more Planeswalker-y heavy build. I mean, this deck's weakness is... One of this deck's weaknesses is it really struggles to deal with resolved Planeswalkers, especially Gideon, because... I mean, I've loved playing with Gideon, almost as much as I've hated playing against it. It's just so insanely effective at what it does. Veteran Motorist, I'm just going to mow down now. So here is a situation in which I would play out a turn 3 Dynavolt Tower. Because once you've got a Dynavolt Tower on board, it's a bit easier to control things up. Do not like to see my opponent go top with Vector and Motorist. Radiant Flames is not a bad one to have. But yeah, I mean, again, it feels like that game would have been easily controllable. I mean, of course we screwed the Gideon thing, that's my own fault. It feels like that would have been easily controllable, but like, just, you know, the opponent going like Gideon, Challenger, Gideon, like you can counter 2, but you can't counter both. Sorry, you can counter 2, but it's very unlikely you're going to be able to counter 3. So opponent, you know, goes bottom top, so assuming the same scribe from before. We are going to hold up Anticipate. Unfortunately, we can't deal with a Gideon if it comes down here. Fraben Inspector, so we might pop the Radiant Flames, especially if there's a follow-up of another. So let's anticipate and see if we find a shock. Because we would like to use a shock here. Release the Gremlins, shielded A for Thief, negate. I'm going to take negate. Release isn't great at this point. A for Thief is fine. I'm going to take this free because we might try and set up a nice Radiant Flames at some point. Heart of Kiran. Kind of wish I had a release now. Forest is not bad. So I think what we do... Yeah, I kind of wish I bolted this on opponent's turn now. So we're going to do that. We're going to hold up negate. If we don't hit... So my thinking is if we don't get a negate target, then we can play Radiant Flames next turn or something, because that means they must play a creature. No Kron Heart of Kiran, so assumably not a creature. So we'll take our lump from Fraben Inspector. And let's see what this is. Drawing a card. So, I mean, 5 lands is a lot for Mardu vehicles. So maybe they're a little land flooded. Okay, they're not doing anything. So they could be holding in removal for Dynavolt Tower in hand. But I'm just going to take this opportunity to Glimmer because we need to kind of free up some mana. Attune is good here. Torrentials could be a bit of a liability. We just actually need to find early plays here. Another Word of Virtuoso. So one of those is probably coming down soon. I'm going to attune to get our second blue source. Puts the Dynavolt Tower onto a healthy point. Still going to hold up negate. Like now we're kind of hitting some land drops. We can afford to play around Gideon a bit. Let's see what creature they play. Release the Gremlins on Dynavolt Tower. You know what? I can live with that. I can live with that. We can survive through not having a tower there. Didn't crew Heart of Kiran again. I wonder why. Kind of seems like you would there with the Gremlin. Maybe they forgot. Toolcraft Exemplar. So yeah, this is going to be our Radiant Flames turn. Drawing a second Radiant Flames helps with that plan immensely. Red, green, because that's Bluff Disallow. And we only need to do it for 2 colours anyway. So that resets the board. I'm feeling pretty decent about this spot. As long as we don't see another one of those. Although, so the thing is now, we get to play a Whirl of Virtuoso that can make 4 Thopters. So Gideon's under a lot of pressure as is. Like, obviously Heart of Kiran's a hard one to get around. But we can We can make some serious foptering here. I'm going to make 2, I think. Oh, is this an unlicensed disintegration? Okay, so let's make... Yeah, still make 2. Actually, let's make another 1, because we can just play another Whirl of Virtuoso. So we've got some pressure now. Could play another Dynavolt Tower. Could play another Dynavolt Tower, could play another Whirl of Virtuoso. Like, opponent is down to 1 card in hand. We have a fair amount of pressure here. So I actually like playing out a Virtuoso instead. We can keep up this pressure. Like at the moment they can't crew a Heart of Kirin, so we can make 2 more Fops end of turn. And that starts to become a problem. Now, the biggest threat is like if they manage to land like a Gideon here, then they can start crewing the Heart of Kirin. It's a bit awkward. I mean, I would not... I mean, another thing to watch out for is another Release the Gremlins, because they can do it for a fair amount here. But I don't think we can realistically play around that. Now we've got some options. Now we've got some options. So, first things first, let's attack for 7. Now the question here is, do you play a Dynavolt Tower out? So there's no disintegration, so we go to 9. Man, Mardu like managed to put so much pressure on your life total just through unlicensed disintegration. So this is a 2-turn clock as it stands. Do we... I think we just Glimmer end of turn. I think we just Glimmer end of turn. Because this also gives us... Fraben Inspector is fine. I mean, it's not what I would want to have seen, but, you know. So they get to draw a card. What did they get to draw? Veteran Motorist. Decidedly less fine. So they get the Scry. They can crew Heart of Kirin here, which is a bit of a worry. Bottom. Question is, do you crew the Heart of Kirin? Because you might want Heart of Kirin to block. Okay, so... Heart of Kirin's going to hit us for 5? Christ. I mean, I know I was saying that we shouldn't rush hastily to bans, but like, seriously, Heart of Kirin. Glimmer, Shielded AC5. We don't want either of those. We want to find a Harness Lightning. Cool. Okay, that was better. No obvious mistakes. Didn't see much evidence of them going into the sideboard Planeswalker plan. So let's keep as is. I mean, we're still in it. Normally I get 2-0'd by Mardu, so... I've literally not won a match against this deck. It's very, very tricky. This hand is straight unkeepable. I think this is also like the biggest problem, not just for this deck, but for any deck against Mardu vehicles, is that it punishes you so hard for stumbling. Have an early harness. I kind of want to keep this so we can still Glimmer, because God, we have to. Well, we have to use a lot of energy, so it probably isn't. Probably just want to actually find actual lands. But yeah, I think that's the most horrible thing about. Oh God, that could not have been a better draw. I think we still get Island. Yeah, still get Island. And it's the most horrible thing about Mardu is like every time you mulligan, like when you mulligan it feels bad. When you mulligan against Mardu it feels so much worse because I did not want to see Scrap Heap Scrounger. Like Mardu just punishes you so much anytime you stumble. It's actually insane how much you get punished for it. Let's see, we can harness. I think we actually legitimately harness here. They'll play a free. I just want to buy time here, really. Because they'll play a free, we're not going to do anything unless we draw on a tune, because again, this negate, losing to an early Gideon would really suck. And then. Oh man, Veteran Motorist. Yeah, because that's the thing, like, all the Mardu creatures basically are free power. Apart from Fraben Inspector. But they're all free power, so like, they put so much pressure on you early. Let's play this island. And it's just it's so difficult to try and keep up. Because like, they're two, like, we're now being attacked for 4. It's just so much pressure to deal with. Because the problem is that as soon as you start tapping out to deal with this stuff, that's when they land a Challenger or Gideon, and you're just looking at yourself and you're just like, ugh. Yeah, we'll counter Challenger. Like, Challenger is not as bad as Gideon, but like the problem is the same, is that it's actually so hard to deal with once resolved. I mean, a Word of Virtuoso makes 2 Thopters. It provides blockers. I think we play the Virtuoso. Yeah, I think we do. We're gonna get some value out of it. If they unlicense Disintegration it, they unlicense Disintegration it. If they land Gideon, that sucks. But I don't think we can afford to play around it. Attack with both. And I feel like I just want to buy the time. It's possible we should keep both Opters around to pressure a Gideon, but I need the time. Wow, okay, they had nothing? I'm like super surprised at that. I'll play our Canal. I do not want to give this deck time. And maybe they want to start recurring the Scrounger? Yeah, so they recur Scrounger and draw a card. Yeah, there are so many things that would just make Mardu a little bit worse. Like if Scrap Heap Scrounger wasn't around, because it just gives them, in matchups like this, it just gives them that insane value. Or if Gideon, that's why I wouldn't mind seeing Gideon banned. Gideon gives Mardu such an edge. I'm just going to take 3 here. I'm not going to use the Aether Thief for now, because I really want to Glimmer. Heart of Kiran. Radiant Flames. Okay, so we keep Incendiary Flow for sure. That's a really nice pickup here. This is, however, too many lands. So let's flow. I mean, Wisdom says to play Botanical Sanctum because it comes in tapped, but I'm going to play Aether Hub for the 3rd energy. That means we can make another Thopter if need be. I mean, still a bit worried. Opponent has 3 cards in hand. We've got an Aether Thief, but not much else. I mean, to be honest, there is actually... We might not want to make another Thopter. We might want to flash in the Aether Thief and draw. Opponent has not shown... Oh, they brought in their own Radiant Flames. Okay. Opponent, I mean, I didn't realize Radiant Flames was even in Mardu sideboards that much. I was about to say opponent hadn't shown signs of like spot removal, but that kind of goes against that. And that was... These are some miserable draws now. Oh god. We even boarded out an island. This feels like one of those games we had before where it's like, if we're in a good spot, as long as we don't start drawing bricks. We've drawn a lot of bricks. And now our opponent is going to know about all the bricks we have in hand. So if they go land Gideon now, it's just like, I mean, they could have been playing around counterspells before. Now they know they don't have to. Not a brick. Also insanely poor here. But at the same time, what does my opponent have in hand? They had 5 mana open, they transgressed, saw nothing, and did nothing. So they either holding lands back, or they've got removal they don't want to use yet, or they had a Gideon they want to protect. Vector and Motorist, that's not great. Other problem with Mardu, card advantage between Chandra and Gideon and Vector and Motorist and Fraven Inspector. Fraven Inspector, like, I know I'm whining about Mardu, but I think Mardu's like a weird deck where there's just been... Oh yeah, the Heart Kieran's going to get massive here. It's just such a weird deck that has got a lot better because it feels like the 3 colours have access to things that it really shouldn't. We are falling behind here. It's a bit frustrating because... Oh, Natural State, that's a nice one. Not going to use the Radiant Flames yet. I mean, it is a little bit unfortunate because it feels like had we not hit this kind of vein of lands, we'd be in a pretty good spot. But we are already behind, and a slammed Gideon is just death. Right, let's Natural State this now. But yeah, no, no, no. It was looking so good. Oh god, it was looking so good. Like, this is one of the difficulties. Like, it feels like when you get, like, take away the land draws, it feels like when you get to that point in a game, it feels like you should, like, they've got no board state. It feels like control deck should be advantaged. They got to scry to draw off this, and yeah, I know, I'm getting too whiny about Mardu now. The question is, do we harness lightning something away? Or do we do the weird like blank harness lightning play? And then draw off Ether Thief. I feel like we have to Radiant Flames either way. It's just like, will the harness lightning be a complete waste? It might be. I think green, red. So let's Radiant Flames this away. I think we have to block Gideon, because if we don't block... I mean, there is actually a possibility. If they play in Licensed Integration, we'd just be dead. We'd actually literally have to harness lightning our own guy in response to avoid taking the 3 off Disintegration. But I think we block in, nonetheless. I don't think we can afford going down to 3. Again, you brought out the Torrential Gearhogs to slow, but it's exactly what we'd want here. Oh, it's also possible stuff with hand has been artifact removal. I mean, Dynavolt, not the worst. Not the best either. I'm going to take 5. And as a downside, you take playing the team of versions. You lose black, and black has got the cleanest answers to Planeswalkers. Is that enough? It isn't. Yeah, that's a shame. That felt winnable. Really felt winnable. Well, it's the best deck in the format for a reason. Well, we'll see if we can win out our last 2 rounds.